Hi, this is Neal Walters. I'm a BizTalk architect in Dallas and Irving, Texas. And in this video, I want to talk to you about some of the skills involved in doing BizTalk. This is basically one of the reasons that I like doing BizTalk is that it kind of covers a whole wide gambit of skills. And back when I was a Microsoft certified trainer, I kind of delved into each of these. And then what really pulls them together is BizTalk. So like lots of times, what I hate to say an ordinary developer, but a normal software developer sometimes is like just doing GUI forms all day long. Or another developer might be doing some kind of batch programming, but BizTalk just kind of crosses all the gambits. And for that reason, the BizTalk developer might be more expensive, and you might want to know why. So here's some of the skills involved in doing BizTalk. I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to kind of go clockwise around in a circle. They have to know how to design data flows, basically between systems in your company or between your company and other companies. They basically need to know C#, the .NET platform, the .NET framework. Wouldn't hurt to know VB sometimes as well, because sometimes you'll see VB code. BizTalk itself uses many different languages and styles, and it has a thing called a BizTalk orchestration, which is more or less based on C#. It's actually called Xlang, but it's basically kind of like a slightly limited version of C#. You have to know XML inside and out, and then with XML there are a whole gambit of other related utilities. You have to know XPath, XSLT, which is the mapping language style sheet. Nowadays JSON and REST systems are becoming more popular. You have to know mapping, how to map one XML to another. You have to understand how schemas work, and how I threw in here CSVs, comma separated value files, or even flat files as well, how to map between these different structures. Then you have to know some SOA, service-oriented architecture, web services. You have to be familiar with IIS Admin. That's the Microsoft tool for doing web services. It helps if you know how to program web services. You might need to use tools like Wireshark or other trace utilities to see what data is being shipped back and forth across the wire, as we say. You need to be familiar with encryption and SSL certificates and how to install them, that type of thing. Sometimes you need to know EDI, which is a special type of data format that some companies use, not all of them. And sometimes EDI is sent on a platform or a service called AS2. Sometimes it's sent other ways. It definitely pays to know scripting, and today a lot of scripting is done with PowerShell. You can also actually do a lot of scripting even in C#, or even there's still VB script floating around. You really need to know how to do the following: documentation, because a lot of projects don't get documented very well, and then the BizTalk guy leaves, and where does that leave the company? They need to be familiar with standard operating procedures and actually be able to create their own, and they need to be able to create and good naming conventions, especially for BizTalk entities. And this step is often omitted, I find, in a lot of companies. Sometimes you need to know business rules and something called BAM, business activity monitoring. You definitely need to know the BizTalk administrative tool, how to structure an application, how to do your deploys. There are various deploy utilities. You have to know how to move data, not move data, but how to move your system that you develop, for example, from a test system to a QA system to a production system. And actually I left Windows off of here. You really need to be familiar with several of the Windows operating systems, anywhere from Windows 2003, 2008, 2012. You need to be familiar with FTP, File Transport Protocol. It's still very commonly used. And even SMP, SMTP and SMNP, whatever, the email protocols are very commonly used. Well, not commonly, but they're still used a little bit. Other communication technologies. You need to be familiar with data structures and data formats. SQL is a big plus. You need to kind of know how Microsoft SQL Server admin works, how to be able to write simple stored procedures, how to create tables sometimes, how to do insert statements or move data from one system to the other. And it might also involve using Oracle or even some other database package. You need to understand what queues are, queuing theory, things like Microsoft Message Queue or IBM's MQ series. And along that line, I was just thinking of another thing. It just skipped my mind. Okay. Oh, ESB, Enterprise Service Bus, could be another thing I could put in with this. And now we got back to the top. And then down at the bottom here, I put some more what we might call soft skills that aren't so much totally techie skills. You have source code management, whether you use Microsoft's Team Foundation server or maybe use SVN or GitHub or whatever. You need to make sure the code is checked in and maintain that way. You have to know how to do backups of BizTalk and SQL and IIS, things like that. You need to be familiar with project management systems and again, how to deal with a QA people and how to deal with production problems. Actually, problem solving I had up here, debugging and problem solving. You need to be familiar with the Microsoft Office suite, of course, and ticket tracking systems. So that's kind of a little bit of what a BizTalk developer might do in any one day. He might touch on any one or all of these technologies. I mean, there might be days where all I'm doing is C# and orchestration, and then next day I may not be coding at all. I may be doing problem solving, or I may be doing something related to source code or project management. I may be over here in SQL land. It just varies from day to day, and I enjoy that kind of variety, but that variety is not for everybody. So these are some of the skills you need if you want to be good at BizTalk, if you're thinking of becoming a BizTalk developer, or maybe you're a recruiter or a manager and you just want to know what the BizTalk skills are so you can put them on a job description if you're hiring a BizTalk person. And of course, if you're hiring or you need a consultant, be sure to check me out. There's my number, and it'll be below the video, and I'd be glad to talk to you about what's available, or if maybe some of my associates are available. So this has been a video on BizTalk skills. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.